you, madam, because I do know that Mr. Dave Umahi, tried to explain that they wanted to go with the original route, but that there were cables, undersea cables, passing through that original route. As I said, we'll come back to you, and you can tell us if another assessment was done to know if how the environment was going to be impacted by that diversion. But let me come to you, Mr. Akintayo. You are a resident and you're also a real estate investor. And we've seen in recent times the Lagos state government clamp down hard on real estate investors. As a matter of fact, also blaming them, because we're seeing right here, canals have been blocked, places that were not approved for sand filling have been sand filled. First, were you one of those accused? And then secondly, have there been times, if you're not one of those accused, have there been times when you, as a real estate investor, have, called perhaps the attention of your fellow developers to say, this manner in which you're going about this thing could have a dangerous consequence for the environment, given how some of your colleagues were going about developing?
My name is Stephen Akintayo, and it's good to be here this morning. I will say that, to be honest, Nigeria is a place sometimes where you do everything right and you can still end up being wrong. When the blame is shifted on developers, I think it's not fair, because before you develop anything, you buy a land, you get a permit, and from the point of getting your permit, it will take at least 6 months or a year or two. Some projects even take longer before the property is completed. And now this gives you opportunity for government agencies to come check. I mean, now we are not in any way affected by this, but a lot of our colleagues are affected. And we've asked questions, what has gone on? And the question has always been, we took, in fact, some of them, it was 5 years after acquiring the land, they started building. They got permits. The land have CO. So what we sense is that there are people who carry out sharp practices in government agencies, and these people seems not to be punished or held accountable, and they approve certain things. But what we also realize for the issue of the flooding is that most of the canal is blocked by vegetations and sand and other things, particularly when you look at the Ogompo. Mind you, the entire Lekki, is a marshy land, used to be called Morocco. It was rushed. There's no proper, design for Lekki itself. The water is bad. Most times you are seeing that a lot of even the drainage, the waste disposal is not good. So it's even seeping into the drinking water people use. A lot of people are relying on borehole. So it's a poorly built environment. The drainage are blocked. The canal is blocked. And at this point, when you then introduce a coastal road that is now above almost all the properties in that area. Because remember, when building, you have to look at the road level and make sure that it's from the road level that you pick your foundation. Typically, in most of these areas, people ignore that, right? Now, of course, those who even have, do that. Now, coastal road is, I think, over 4 to 6 feet above the usual road level. And so water is finding it difficult to channel out, and that's part of what you're probably seeing happen. So it's a mixture of errors everywhere, and we just have to find a solution. But it's impressive to see that the government is concerned. Seeing the governor, the deputy, the commissioner move around to look for a solution is important, but we need to be preventive. Reactional leadership is not always the best.
Mr. Akintayo, I'm looking at those visuals.
And you absolutely, yeah.
Mr. Akintayo, I think we owe you an apology.
Yeah.
We're so sorry for guessing your
name.
getting your name. I know it is Mr. Stephen Akintayo, not Akintoye. So apologies for that, please.
Well, Mr. Akintayo, looking at the visuals there, so this happens. I want to get you to be clear with us right now. Are you saying that because of this coastal highway construction, that the flooding this year is worse than the flooding previous years?
Definitely, absolutely. Because again, you have a road that is higher than every of the houses that it is passing through. There's practically no house right now in that entire corridor that has have a foundation level from that coastal road. The coastal road is so literally you did a road that turns on the right, on the left to a valley of some sort.
So the engagements with this in mind, you're a real estate investor, you're a resident. Has there been what kind of conversations have you been having with the Minister of Works? Because he's defended this coastal highway with all his strength. So in the conversations with him, what do you get the sense that he agrees with your assertion, or does he feel like you don't quite understand how we have done what is necessary and it just takes some time for things to level out? What do you get in your conversations with the Minister of Works on this particular matter?
I personally haven't engaged the Minister of Works. We run an institution, so it's not really a one-man business. And I'm mostly not, because we have investment in Dubai, US, and things like that. But I'm aware that a lot of our colleagues have raised that. Engineer Stella, she more than raised that. I mean, everybody knows that by now, And but I think I'm not even against the coastal road, road level, because again, this is well planned over the years.
Yeah.
The coastal road is not a new concept, and by the word coastal road, it was meant to be in proximity to the ocean, right?
Yeah.
And so it's also a way of preventing erosion. However, I think the challenge is once you move away from the gazetted line, which is more closer to the ocean, now you came into this almost, we can call it city center now. And so you move into the city center and created of some sort valleys. It's just
that naturally flows into valleys. All right, so I'll come back to you in a bit. But let's talk with Stella Okengu. Madam Stella, so talk to us about the engagements with the Ministry of Works. How has it been? What are the responses? And we both know why you're laughing, because you have been fighting for a while. And more grease to your elbows.
I said everything now.
All right, so let's talk about that. What are your feelers in your engagements with the Minister of Works, and what's the plan going forward based on the conversations you've had?
Anyway, what I'm going to say is that the engagement was unsatisfactory because I raised the issue of environmental impact assessment, and when I raised it, he literally shut me down, which I don't even want to remember my experience with the minister. But when this coastal route came, when I was, talking about it, raising technical questions, because I'm an engineer by profession, a lot of people thought maybe because I'm concerned about our estates. But the issue is that the old gazetted alignment, which is the 2006 gazetted alignment, has passed all the environmental assessments, everything. So I will say that the coastal road was built on emotion, because he mentioned then that he wants to save about 1,700 to 2,000
Choose from thousands of realistic voices to use in your content. Change the way you record podcasts, voiceovers, and branded content with the #1 AI-powered voice generating technology. Stop searching for the perfect voice and stop wasting time re-recording take after take. Try 11 Labs for free and start elevating your content today.
GoDaddy has the perfect hosting plan for any website. From low-cost shared hosting to your own virtual server. Every plan comes with a 99.9% uptime guarantee along with a free domain name and award-winning support. No wonder we're the world's #1 web host.
And you made a medical mistake. That's how engineers came to invest. It's about because of the coastline there, so that we can be able to enjoy the environment, the beaches around there. You understand? But with destroying and demolishing our properties, I don't think our investors wants to come back again to Nigeria. Until now, I have been appealing for the compensation, but unfortunately, let me say that yes, part of the federal government are listening to us right now, but nothing has been done. So, we left our home country. I'm a United States citizen, returned home because I believe in Nigeria. We invested hundreds of millions of dollars, encouraged fellow diaspora in Nigeria to invest, and convinced foreign partners that Nigeria was ready for responsible investment. Many of those same people asked me a heartbreaking question. If an investor who followed the approved process can lose everything without compensation, what guarantee do they have? Sadly, I don't have that answer.
I mean,
it's a terrible thing, but it really left a bitter taste because we have, like what Dr. Akintayo said, we have all the necessary documents. We even have coastal road right of way clearance certificate. So the coastal road does not have any jurisdiction in our area. So, but unfortunately, what happened to us was devastating. A nation that attracts investment, is not only by constructing highways, but by demonstrating that laws are respected. Environmental impact assessment is robust.
It is very heart-wrenching listening to your story,
Sometimes when
Ma'am.
I think about it, I supported the coastal road 100%.
Yeah.
I wanted it to come. When we heard it was coming, everybody was happy.
Until it came, and then let me ask you very quickly: has the road finally got to your area? Has it reached your area where you had your property?
Okay, Dr. Akintayo can bear me witness. Immediately, I raised the technical question about the coastal road. The next thing they said that the minister gave an order that they should leave wherever they are and go to our estate and demolish and pass the road. The road just has passed our estate.
So the road has passed your estate now?
In the middle of my estate.
Has your estate experienced any flooding whatsoever?
Of course. But if they had passed the original gazetted alignment, what they would have done is to put an embankment, a struck embankment, just the way they did it in Chenage, 13, 12, there's an embankment there, but they brought it into the city. You understand? It's not along the coastline again. They brought it saying that there is a marine cable. Marine cable cannot technically, let me say it in a layman language, cannot be on a land. Marine cable is a deep sea cable. It's inside the sea. It cannot even survive. It will melt, literally melt. So they favored some people, let me put it like that. And now those people, they want to go back and demolish their property.
Wow. Well, we'll wait to hear from the Lagos State government, because it does raise key questions. When the Commissioner for the Environment was speaking about mistakes that were made in terms of alignment and even the roads and drainage channels not being properly aligned, people raise questions as to, did they really have a handshake with the Lagos State government before this road was, conceived and built, much as it was a grand and fantastic idea? And in fairness, a lot of Lagosians are already beginning to use that coastal road, and it's relieving some traffic on the Lekki-Ekpe expressway, even the road to VI. So we're beginning to see that. But then, given what we're now saying, questions are now being raised by citizens as expected. And we wait to hear from the Lagos State government a comprehensive brief as to how exactly they reached the current plans for this Lagos Coastal Highway. We also want to hear from the Minister of Works, because, he held quite a number of stakeholder briefings, even though a few of them were controversial in terms of how he was willing to take feedback from those whom he had invited to that stakeholder briefing, and what exactly is transpiring now in Lagos. Well, so far so good. We've seen the governor go around certain places, visiting affected residents. What is the Lagos State government promising people like yourself? Because much as, yes, the federal government is the one building this road, I imagine that it was the Lagos State government that allocated land to you. It was the Lagos State government that you dealt with to get all of the clearances that you need. If at the end of the day, its guarantees held no water, held no weight, what exactly are they saying to you now?
What happened is not the fault of the Lagos State government. I'm going to tell you this, because if the minister did what is right, first of all, we have Lagos State Building Control Agency, which is LAPSCA. They are the one that is supposed to be in charge of the demolition. What the minister is supposed to be in charge of is constructing the road. Lagos State Building Control Agency, when the demolition was happening, they were not the one that demolished. Dr. Akintayo, I hope I'm saying the right thing. At least you were there. They were not the one that demolished. Everything that happened, it was the Ministry of Works that ordered the demolition, not the Lagos State government. So, literally, the Lagos State government, their hands were tied on this issue. I'm not saying it, I'm not that kind of person that will paint words. I'm telling you, because I flew down from from America to Nigeria. I was around for almost 1 year, the highest I have been in Nigeria. I witnessed everything that happened there. So what the Lagos State government, what they are doing now, because number one, the compensation is being handled by the federal Minister of Works. The demolition, everything, he handled everything. So the Lagos State government did not handle it. So what the Lagos State government is trying to do now with the Commissioner of Environment is trying to mitigate the damage that has been done. I saw when the governor was talking, he was trying to he was telling them that this place, that they should channel some of the water into this canal in order. So they are trying, and they can't do more than what they.
Maybe I can add to it.
Mr. Akintayo, you have a different opinion.
No, not a different opinion. I just want to give some context. So, by Nigerian constitution, it's believed that some say 50 meters or 100 meters from the waterways belong to the federal government. However, this coastal road has created a situation whereby the federal government is probably even laying claims on more than 300 meters, to the shoreline in this axis. We have at least 5 different estates that we invested in. Out of 5, 4 were affected by this. In fact, one of it, the High Tech, which is the construction company office in Ibejuleki right now, is sitting on our land. Our lawyer through, by Safalano has written them. We've not heard anything. So you're seeing a good project, well intended, a great idea, good vision, but poorly executed. And I think that's the issue. A few ideas that I think if people in government are listening, first of all, set up a different compensation fund managed by both Lagos State government, federal government, and stakeholders, developers, who are affected, totally different from the Ministry of Works. You cannot be the judge in your own case, which we feel that's what is going.
You know exactly what will take your business to the next level. Websites, apps, newsletters, slides, and
government. It's a catch-22 situation. And it's, unfortunately, they are the ones that are bearing the burden of the fallout of issues like this. One of the things myself and Engineer Stella share is the fact that we have multiple residences and we also do business internationally. And the challenge is that we go tell, our colleagues in diaspora, come invest in Nigeria, come invest in Lagos State. And, before you know it, things begin to happen. And those people are looking at you and say, but you told us to invest back at home. You are the marketer for Nigeria. See what's going on. And whether it affects you directly or indirectly, you're still going to be affected because we know some, like I told you, we have 5 different properties we invested in. We have one that wasn't even affected. But even the investors there are struggling to sleep. Oh, today we heard this about Coastal Road. Tomorrow we heard this, So investors are panicking. It has affected the industry in a great way. And to be honest, the real estate sector in Nigeria is terribly affected. The trust level is low. And when you look at what really can grow the economy, is the real estate sector. So I feel there's a need for all of us to come together and find a way to build trust. When you look at remittances to Nigeria, I can guarantee you that more than 60% of it is towards real estate. Now, I'm sure that is going down because people are now more concerned. And so I want to add that whenever government wants to do things, good intention, they need to be conscious of the PR aspect of it. Don't, because you can't say you want investors to come invest in Nigeria. At the same time, you're doing things in a way that it just gives the same Nigeria a bad name. It looks as if we don't respect investors. We don't treat investors right. We can just wake up and demolish any estates without considering other key factors. I've argued, and I'm saying it again today, if any developer who is a colleague of mine decide to build on a canal, decide to, break the law, you can freeze and seal up their estates, demand that restitution is paid. For example, we need to build a new canal, right? You have to pay for it. But to destroy billions of naira worth of assets, which is not the developer's money. Mind you, the developer money is in it, but he or she has also either taken money from the bank or he or she has gotten foreign investors. I'm currently in Stanford University on a mergers and acquisition program. We always say, don't destroy value. When it comes to building enterprise, you don't want to destroy value. Find a way to make sure that any money that has been invested in Nigeria is eventually protected one way or the other, so that you can signal to other people to say, we will protect your capital no matter what happens. But right now, it's not looking good for individual investors, institutional investors like us, who have invested not just as individuals but as a corporation. It's not looking good, and we're being hit on multiple levels. Our books are not looking good with all the losses we have been incurring.
Yes,
it's hard not
to say.
Sorry, madam. I wish we had a little more time, to discuss this, especially that proposition of do not destroy value, especially when you look at our current situation, even sometimes the situation that government sometimes finds itself with, will I say, willful destruction, or willful ignoring of, certain places, or even where kidnappers are involved, where illegal money is involved, and government believes that the only way to teach people a lesson is that, things that are acquired illegally, will not stand. So, I mean, that conversation for me looks like it's another conversation entirely. But Mr. Akintayo, Dr. Stephen Akintayo, Lagos resident and real estate investor, chairman of SACI Holdings, and Madam Stella Okengwu, CEO of Win Homes Limited. We do have to thank the both of you. We sympathize with your experience. We still look forward to hearing from the Lagos state government, because much as you've said that they found themselves in a catch-22 situation and it wasn't really their fault, the truth is they still owe you a responsibility. We know that land resources are vested within the state government. They are the ones who have that. Yes, the federal government can ask for, and the state government, can grant the federal government's right of way, etc., etc. But they still, wherever it is that they have given some other people perhaps C of O, and cleared them, they still owe them some responsibility. So we'll wait to see if we'll hear from the Lagos state government, particularly on this particular account, while we also wait to hear from the Minister of Works on this issue as well. Thank you both for engaging with us this morning. All right, we'll take a break. When we come back, we did tell you about the NBA earlier. We will be talking about the elections and giving you a preview as the NBA goes into its polls this weekend. Please stay with us.
And the best student in basic digital literacy is Jadin.
We don't just practice medicine. We are driven